Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is simply Saturday, May 28th, and we are in Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys all are doing wonderful. Our very special guest today is an actor and director, and you might know his voice on a familiar character on South Park. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have artist, actor, director, Ozzie Carnan. Now, I hope you guys all are doing wonderful this Saturday. It has been a hectic week, so no show Monday, of course. It is Memorial Day, so we will be back Tuesday with our guy to talk all things fashion craze. I had to share this live to let everyone know that I am on. I hope you guys all are doing wonderful, fantastic, as I am today. Hi, Angela. Ladies and gentlemen, Angela and Wavo, supermodel. Make sure you guys go and check out that interview. I had such a great time. As you guys can see today, I'm inspired by another supermodel, Cindy Crawford. As you guys can see, the beauty mark right there. So I wanted to give you guys that 90s flavor. You know, I was feeling pretty good today. So without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, Ozzie Carnan. Special thanks to my glam team, my beauty contributor and makeup artist, Melanie, for making sure that we're sleeve. So look at that beauty mark. Janet Jackson also had one too. So. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the house. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, Stevie. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
You'll have to forgive my my moving office today.
No, you are good. You are good. So before we get into this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? You know, we've had some ups and downs, this pandemic and things. So how's it been for you thus far?
It has been chaos. It's been lovely. It's been transitional. It's been transformational. I just recently moved to DC from Atlanta, where I was doing film and TV and also working on writing and illustrating my graphic novel. And my kid's mom moved here, and so of course I'm gonna pack up to be wherever the kids are at. So that's been a major transition, and luckily I made the transition. I've been focusing on the creating aspect as opposed to the acting aspect of my career more lately, working on this graphic novel based on Nanny of the Maroons. And so luckily, even if I was well in the midst of acting in Georgia, then I would still have to make the move for my little humans. But so since I'm focusing on something that I can do anywhere, it was a much easier move. And also being a teacher, which there's an aspect of education in this graphic novel. So there is I could do it anywhere. So there's been that translation. Literally just moved into my new place in DC, and so that place it's a mess. It's ridiculous putting that together. So if that answers the question.
It does. And moving is a process. It's a new start. Just think about it. You don't know anybody. You're just getting used and accustomed to things. So I definitely can understand. And DC is pretty big. So yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I knew my kids. That's that's about it. I have like one friend in DC who has her own family, and she's a career dancer, and so it's like we rarely get a chance to see it. So, but it's definitely been a learning process and a sort of and a transitional process. So, but I'm enjoying the ride so far. I'm used to living a bit of a hectic seat of your pants kind of existence, being a creative.
All right, definitely. And we've seen that throughout your career, which we'll get into because I mentioned that you did something very iconic throughout your career, and that was one of the voices on South Park, which we're talking to throughout this interview. So how did you get your start into acting?
I've always been interested in acting. My first talent was as an artist, but I wanted to be able to. I liked the visceral nature of being up in front of an audience and connecting emotionally and feeling that energy when you bring that energy out, you feel it bouncing back at you since grade school, really. But I've had some minor successes here and there, but that was definitely one of my most favorite. Is because it's all about mind control. I love that line because it is, and well, it's kind of like I mean, acting is certainly is in itself all about mind control because you have to control your own mind more than anyone else's because you're going to have to go through a spate of disappointments and trials, and when the parts where you could have gotten the part, and parts where you see someone doing the part that you just auditioned for, and you're like, I could have done that better, but good job. You have to keep that positive mindset at the same time, but just like sometimes you got to keep it real.
Absolutely, 100%. So where did this love for graphic novels, because you're not only an actor, director, as you mentioned in the beginning, you do comics as well too. So where did this love and this passion come from, and where do you find the inspiration?
It comes from my childhood of my cousin, who was like my big brother, introduced me to comics, and so he had a slew of comics, and so I would just leaf through those. I'll just like go through the comics and go like tons and tons of comics, and being an artist, I have a kinship to that medium because it is as much about story as it is about art. And my specific story is it's more like paintings within a story, or stories within a paintings, because while normal the process is a lot quicker for most graphic novels, mine is taken a longer route because each page it's a painting. Sometimes I'll work on a specific cell, that the specific square in that comic, and everything else will be like centered around that. And that one cell may take me like days to complete because it's very pivotal. And the inspiration specifically is familial. Many people don't know about Nanny of the Maroons. She was a historical priestess, I would call like an ancient scientist, a leader, a warrior in ancient Jamaica. And she was part of the Maroons, which has been around since Jamaica was occupied by the Spanish. And so Nanny and her Maroons, and her siblings as well, they helped to free slaves, and they lived out in the mountains, and they were pivotal to thwarting the British, and they aided, in essence, the American Revolution, because a lot of their time and expenditure was focused on the Caribbean and the rebellion in the Caribbean. So if that second front wasn't as prevalent as she helped it be, then the American Revolution may not have been successful. So it's I wanted to tell the story. Being raised by women, my kids are will someday be women. I wanted to tell the story of strong, dynamic women who excelled, who persevered in a very patriarchal world and mindset.
I made that face because that's something that I've kind of been speaking about. And it's funny to hear it from a male perspective. For me as a woman, I totally understand where you're going with this, with the comic books, because we definitely need this. And it showcases our resilience as women and what we're able to do, what we're capable to do. We take on and tackle so many different things, roles as mothers, roles as the aunts, the daughters. We do so much. So we thank you for giving this comic book to us 100% because it showcases that just there in itself and how powerful Black women we are and our resilience. Just to keep going throughout the midst of whatever goes on, we still have to make sure that everything is organized. The house, we have to make sure the business is taken care of. It's a lot that goes into it with being, just a woman in society in a male dominated world. And trust me, I've had my challenges. I've even had, I'm going to be transparent, I've had some guests that have came on my platform that were men that were just intimidated by my strength. And that happens.
Hmm.
Some men are intimidated by how strong we as women are and what we're able to bring to the table. They wouldn't be like, well, how does she know that? How does she know about this? Because we trained ourselves, we did everything we needed to do, and it should be equal on both sides. Both of us support each other. So we thank you.
Yeah, no, it absolutely it should be like that because we are like other than gender we are equal. I mean, we're not built the same, but our minds are what moves us, and our minds have no gender. Our spirit has no gender. And a lot of people think, well, I mean, there are people who think out there, well, then the man should be the head of the household. The man should be this or that or the other. And I want to break some of
That's so
that
cool.
too. Men, because I'm also a teacher, and I teach pre-K and preschool. I mean, I've taught all ages, but right now I'm focusing on the youngest minds. And they're like, a lot of people look at me strange because I teach the young, the in a field that is typically very female dominant. Um, and so people look at me, it's like, what's is okay. And then until they see what it is I do and what it is I can do,
Yeah,
and it's like they're first perceiving me through a lens of my gender. And I think that's an incomplete story insofar as who I am. I mean, because if we believe in God, then we must believe that in reincarnation, or however we believe that we come back. I in my next time around, I may come back as a woman. I may come back as, it's however you come back is however you come back. But who you are, who you want to be, the change that you want to affect in the world, that's the key thing. That's the thing that is more important than any of that, because um you know that's the thing that helps everyone else, because our gender is not moving us forward. Our spirits are moving us forward.
absolutely. 100%. And that's what society is kind of gripsing and coming to terms with, that women are now, empowered. It's been that way for a long time because for so long, as you said, those traditional values are the man is the head of the house. And things are starting to shift and change. And you see it both ways. We're both the head of the house together. We're making sure that the kids are taken care of, making sure that we're doing everything that we need to do. So this comic book can be powerful, and it can be a movement to help break that cycle and stigma of, everything out here that has affected society for myself and other women that is so male dominated, because everything is so patriarchal.
No, exactly. And me having been raised by women, I understand the strength of women. A lot of women are my heroes. Um, so yeah, I want other people to, like, who don't have that experience, or who were raised differently, or you know again, to be aware of the different women in history who are part and parcel to changing the world, to creating a better place. And it could be in in great ways, or small ways, but I mean, they're all great ways, and I think it's, again, about moving us all forward.
Absolutely, and breaking that cycle, because this has been that way for years, since the 1950s, where woman be taking care of the home, and the husband would go out and work, and everything would have to be in order, or what I like to call Betty homemaker. So those traditional
Yeah.
values back then are being broken, and this is pivotal. So I thank you, truly.
I'm looking forward to when it finally gets finished. I'm the illustrator, the writer, the penciler, the inker. I am like the everything right now, and this first part is almost done. It's just the illustrating is the thing that is taking the longest time, and the next part of the series is mostly written. So I've been concentrating on writing that versus illustrating, because that's where I'm called to. That's like there's been some major inspirations in so far as how that story unfolds and how it continues from this first part of Maroon. Um, and I think it's been very, very helpful to take time off from the drawing, and because I'm also doing music with it. And so yeah, I'm looking for musicians who are down to collaborate, artists who are down to collaborate. I want it to be a kind of collaboration where everybody is moved forward from it, and that's financially and emotionally and spiritually. And so anybody out there, you can check out my Instagram. You can see some of the stuff on my Instagram. Those are teasers insofar as what's to come, and they are just the tiniest bits of teasers to what's to come, because it's also, while it's based on Maroon, Nanny of the Maroons, it's this is an iteration, because it was basically stems from the historical fiction I wrote as a film. That's on my list to get done, is to get that produced as a film. It's more Pirates of the Caribbean meets Black Panther. I don't know, but it's a future iteration of her as she reincarnates into the future, instead of dealing with imperialism. It's more now corporate imperialism, drawing a parallel to what we deal with today, with corporations who want to have more control over our information, over our lives, and corporations who people work for corporations, but corporations are not people. The people in those corporations can vote. Corporations should not have a vote, because those people who work for the corporations are already voting. All right, for anybody who's got that confused, corporations are not people. Sorry, I had to get on my soapbox for a little bit.
No, 100%. Nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. So speaking of doing music, how do you find that balance? Because you're doing this comic book, you're making sure that everything is in order, you're doing the graphics, and you're also doing music. So how do you find that balance? Because I know it's difficult doing it all by yourself.
It's cats chasing squirrels in a whirligig. Basically, it's sometimes it's chaos. You just have to go with the flow. The universe puts things in your path, and then you just have to, sometimes you got to sidestep, sometimes you got to put it down. But in the back of my mind, it's always there. And so as I may not be like physically writing music, but the music is like, I'm hearing music in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm putting that down. I like just jot that down. That goes in the little note box. And then with all aspects, that's basically the way that I try to look at it, as a continuum, as his Maroon continuum. There's a segue there. It's a way for, because things are in various aspects of completion, like our lives itself, So I'm not worried about getting to the end, because I know I have people who, when I get to the next step, when I need those people, they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there. When it's ready to bounce off, I have musicians who would be like, oh yes, we need this part. or at least, you know, if whether it's coming up with a lick or a line or a drum beat or whatever, they'll be there. So I'm basically creating the structure, the skeletal frame of what I'm working on, and for those people who see the benefit, for themselves, for the world at large, they'll join in. There'll be people who don't quite get it until it's finished, and then they were like, well, you know, I see that you did this. Can we work on the next part? And that's where I'm at, because no matter, even if I don't have like the wherewithal to hire other musicians or artists, once it comes to fruition, I'm looking at the end of this year to be finished with the first part. Once I get the second part writing done, then people can actually see it in their hands, and they're like, oh, okay. And they can hear some of the music. Actually, some of the music can be heard. I was about to do a crowdfund, and so I haven't launched it yet because I ended up moving, and decided to refocus on the writing instead. And so there's music on there with little diatribes. I'm actually going to leak some of those in the next few months, of the more detailed blurbs visually about the graphic novel, and have some of the music there. It'll be weird. It's going to be weird and a little sci-fi, but I think it will reach some people, and some people won't get it. At least maybe till like the third reading or second reading, or they want to lambast it. I applaud. I want people to give me their opinions, even if they hate it, even if they loathe it, what they dislike, because at least that moves them, and that gets the idea, the true idea, in their head. You know, because they may not like the art. I haven't heard anybody that dislike the art yet, but I mean, it's possible. They may loathe the music, and my music is weird, so that'll very likely going to happen. But it opens up a conversation
and establishes dialogue. And when I think of graphics, I think of gaming, I think of so many things. So I'm going to link you up with some people that I know that I've interviewed from my past shows. One that I can think of, his name is Davion Busey, and he's on a show called Geekcast. I did an interview on there back in 21, and they do all things sci-fi, comics, anime, all of that on their platform, and they talk about it and review it like it's a panel. So it's a little bit different than my talk show. I talk fashion, beauty, entertainment, all of that here on this particular platform. But I went on there, and it was such a pleasure. So definitely going to put you in touch with Davion. Because some people. Definitely. Speaking of networking and connections and careers, let's go through here, because you've got 3 top roles that I'm familiar with. 4. South Park, of course. Evil Little Things, Youthful Journeys of the World, and No Sin Unpunished. Out of these 3 films that I've just named, what 3 words come to your mind when you think of these 3 productions?
Good question. I can't tell you. I don't. There's so like it very, very, very different. I'm lucky to have worked in all of those, with studio folk and more like independent folks who also work in studio. Really, I'm just lucky to have worked with such amazingly creative people. I don't know if you mentioned that Nashville, who was created by the writer-director of Thelma and Louise, and being able to get to work directly with her was incredibly moving to see how she worked. To work from the guys from South Park was one of my favorite kudos. It was a lot of fun to work with that and to see it come up. what the three, is it 3 words?
Mm-hmm.
I think I went more than 3 words at that. I think I just spewed all over, like, with the um yeah, no, like creative, talented people doing what they love is always a joy. I am not a morning person, but I will wake up at the crack of dawn to work with some amazing people. And I have been lucky enough to be able to do that.
And it's great. So tell us about getting the role to be the voice of the pimp on South Park. Tell us, what was that experience like? And do you remember when you got the call for the role to do the voice?
I do. Actually, it was the same day because they were just like I got called in, and it was through an acquaintance that I know, uh, who like reached out and said, "Oh, I think some people are looking for a voiceover for South Park." And I sat in the studio. I'm like, okay, this is and then they had me do a cold read, and that was just like, because that's one of my favorite things to do is to improvise. It's I've been doing that since the 8th grade, and I love the idea of just someone throwing something at you and just going with it. And so they basically sat us down, and they made that choice that day. So I didn't even have any chance to react. I just had to roll into it. I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. Fantastic. Let's get into it. And I think it was Matt. No, it was Trey. I can't remember. I hope you guys aren't watching. I love you both because you guys are awesome. Yeah, being able to just like, and when they would they would be throwing things at me and be like, oh, well, try it this way, try it this
Mm-hmm.
way. Okay. And so, and I love that sort of direction, where they just say, what can you do? Can you try this? Can you do this? How willing are you to jump in and do? And that's basically how I live my life. So it was a great experience. Um, be like, working through that and just like trying different things, and like, and sometimes it's and being willing to fail, trying and be like, that voice, no, no, don't, let's do it a little differently, let's try it that way. And then so I watched the episode, which is actually one of my favorite episodes, even if I wasn't in it. That was that purple outfit. I've been looking for someone to make me that purple outfit, but um, no one's been agreed to that yet.
Oh my goodness. So, oh, I was just looking at a message. So if you could come back, because you've talked about reincarnation, and I love being reborn again, restarting over again, into a whole new life, a whole new person. I believe in transitioning and going on. If you could go on, and we talked a lot about legacies, to another legacy, what superhero would you come back as? Since we're in the field of comics and anime, looking cute. Thank you, girl. Shout outs to my girl, Blue
Okay.
Clothing.
Hey there. Let's see. I would come back as I want to say Batman, but I mean, somewhere between Batman and Black Panther, with all those with all the gear. What I dig about Batman and both is that they're they have indomitable physical prowess, but they're strong. One of their strongest tools are their brains, and I appreciate that as someone who lives in their head quite a bit.
Great choice. And giving a shout out to my girl, Blue Haze Clothing. You guys know Memorial Day is Monday. So for my ladies, definitely go and get you something from Blue Haze Clothing. And for my fellas, get your woman something special from Blue Haze Clothing. You won't be disappointed. If you love the black dress that I wore that sent everyone into a frenzy, definitely go and check out Blue Haze Clothing. She has
Where are they? Where is Blue Haze? Are they in like Atlanta? Are they in on the West Coast? Where are they at?
Yes, my girl is in Atlanta, and I've known her for a very long time. She gets me right. The last look, you guys loved it. So give credits to her because that dress was everything. So if you guys have not seen it, it's up. I'll repost it in my stories. Check out my stories because I'm always posting fashion inspiration there. So yes, definitely go and check her out. Memorial Day weekend. And she has some cute pieces. Like it's a two-piece that I really like. But that's besides the point. We talking to Ozzie. We talking. See, I get carried away. I'm such a
Hey, I
good.
will share. I will. I'm happy. I am happy to share the floor. That's it's all good. It's all about getting people together because eventually I'm gonna check that stuff out because I have some when this eventually gets turned into a film. I'm gonna be using people of color, women, like men. I'm gonna use everybody who's got talent and's got a voice. And so you're gonna have to, there's gonna be, get in the front of the line to say now, because there's gonna be some interesting costume pieces. There's gonna be some, you know, um, yeah, there's room for everybody. That's what I always say. Just give people their due.
Definitely she said absolutely yes, let's work. Definitely link up with her. She's in the Atlanta area. I've known her for a very long time. And she also has a cosmetics line as well too. M Cosmetics. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Black owned. She's super amazing. And I love her products. I've gotten two dresses from her. I purchased two dresses from her. So definitely she's
I'm gonna check out those links.
yeah, you'll be shocked at some of the dresses because for my ladies out there that love to show a lot of back and leg and all of that. Yes, that black dress that was a winner right there. So I give thanks to my girl Blue Haze for that one. So definitely go and check her out. She says I work in film as well, so I can help if you need it.
Right on. Well, yes, that look forward to getting in touch.
Definitely network. See, it's that's what it's all about, and that's what I do here on my platform. Is I network people with the same frame of mind who are interested in having such an amazing just journey together of creating great projects. I love it. So Davion and Blue Haze definitely link up with her. And I see her message fly up across the screen. That's why I looked like because I asked her about a dress earlier. So yeah. So definitely go and follow Blue Haze and check it out. Shop Blue Haze Clothing. Memorial Day is Monday, so go ahead and order right now. Go shop right now so that you can have your pieces ready. So, Ozzy, for you, because we talked a lot about superheroes and comics and graphics and animations. If you were a superhero, what would be your number one power? And if you could change anything, what would that
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this super easy. Like I always dream about flying, and people are like, "Oh, that's just so hackneyed." And like people ask you, I'm like, "What do you?" I'm like, love the idea of just floating up in the air and just getting from. I mean, first of all, you miss traffic, and in Atlanta or even in DC, that's a good thing to mix. Just fly over the traffic. Anyway, it's like you don't have to worry about it. It's just like if you're running late, it's much easier to fly there. Always, because I have a thing about running late because I'm like way easygoing. I'm like, oh, I don't even look at the clock sometimes. I'm like, oh, got to do this, got to do this. I'm not a clock watcher, I believe in embracing the experience as it is, not worrying about time. So flying there would help me get places on time. I mean, but if I so far as what would I change? I mean, I could change. I would like to say wish I could change people's minds, but that's a tricky wicket of like control. The control aspect because you can't really because the more you try to attain control, the more it slips from your grasp. And I think a lot of people worry too much about controlling, and because I've worked with some folks who they want ultimate control over the entire. And I understand that you have a broad
Right.
vision, but when you're collaborating, you want to take ideas that enrich your own, not just people doing what you say, not just turning people, turning people into automatons, and basically, uh, basically just doing exactly the thing you see. Because sometimes there's so much magic in your own mistakes and other
Mm.
people's ideas who can, like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And then once you put those together, once you marry those things together, you have a more enriched product. You have a more enriched society. And I think, insofar as how we deal with each other in relationships, in the micro and the macro, whether it's nations communicating with each other, when we accept um, uh, ideas, heart-centered ideas, especially, then we can create even greater than where we thought our ideas were going.
Absolutely.
Keep asking questions. I'm sure I'm answering the questions you're asking.
No. You answered it correctly. I have a co-host, and he's not here. Johnny has been doing his thing. But we definitely discuss things collectively outside of the show to make sure that, okay, we're going to have this person. This is going to be your day to take this there. So I understand that level of control, but you have to be willing to accept other people's ideas and listen to other people's ideas as well too. It's all part of the process and making an amazing project come together and come to life. So trust me, I understand where you're coming from 100%. I've had two co-hosts and I've went through three, so I still have one and he's here. But definitely, I understand what it's like as a collective, as a unit. It has to be a team effort. So you have to be willing to listen to everybody's perspectives from both ends. That's how I see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. True. And so, what do you got going on lately? What you working on? What are you planning?
Well,
You tough. Oh, did sorry, I just asked you. I'm like, I just flipped the script. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
no,
Yeah, I
and,
didn't mean
and
to do
that was actually going to be one of the segments. We were going to gear off into that. It's called Turn the Table. So yes, you can ask me questions as well too. I allow my guests to do that so they can get to know me. It's like me peeling back that velvet rope and allowing my guests to get to know me, because doing interviews sometimes can be nerve wracking. And I've done a couple of interviews and I'm just like, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to be asked or how it's going to go. And it's so funny to have the shoe on the other foot when the person that is interviewing you, when you're doing it. So yeah, it's different. But what do I have going on lately? Well, I've been so blessed and thankful to have amazing figures like yourself on my platform. Lately, it's just been pretty busy. It's been a rush, and I know people are like, "Well, how does she ever sleep?" I get my 8 hours, believe it, and I thank God for a good
that. Right.
makeup artist.
Sleep is important.
Yes, thank God for a good makeup artist to get me up and make sure that I'm writing together every day, every episode. So I'm thankful to have my team behind me, my mom and my family, my friends, my supporters. I call them the fashion dolls, and just being able to go and do these interviews and knock them out the ballpark, hit runs. So it's been a hit run each week. A home run each week, a home run each week. So that's what I've been doing. What I would love to do is when things open up is find, a place where I could take the show live and have my guests come in and sit in studio.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult with this thing going on. I'm still a germaphobe. I'm still sort of scary. I kind of have the mindset of that Oprah had. Oprah, she said this in the interview. She said, I did not want to leave the house. I didn't want to go nowhere. But I only went to the grocery store and back home. So that's the type of mindset
That was me.
yeah. My
And my
platform.
kids. That was me and my kids, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of chill. I can do with this.
Yeah, absolutely. When I never expected this to come along, I never expected it because it just hit us. And before you know it, the shutdown. So the virtual interviews
Hmm.
have been a success. And I agree with what Blue Haze just said. Yeah, the platform is growing day by day. And for me, it's not about, the views. I do it because I love it. And it has been It's been a job. It's literally been a job because I spoke to my girlfriend
Oh
on the
yeah,
phone Tuesday. And she just like, girl, how do you do it? How do you do these interviews? You get up and you look beautiful. You do what you do. And you come on and do it effortlessly like it's nothing. I said the strength of God. The strength of God is what gets me up to keep going each and every day and
right on.
encouraged. That's what keeps me going. It's that resilience in me, and I'm a Scorpio. So one thing about
Scorpios.
us, yes, we have that strength and that endurance to keep going no matter what it is. If it's chaotic through the situation, we're chill, but we still find a way to maneuver and get through what we need to do. So, absolutely. That's what I've been working on is just these interviews and gaining more interviews. And it's announced here that, so much is coming for 2023. So you guys just have to stay tuned. So it's been amazing.
I gotta say, congrats on and it was a lovely interview with Vanessa Williams. She is a hero of mine. And if she's not still married, I didn't get that. If you're not still married and you're looking, you know, just saying.
Yes, she
No,
found
but it was a really great interview with her.
I listen. When I tell you I was so nervous, I was nervous. Believe it or not, I get nervous behind the scenes. Um, and it just happened not too long ago, just recently. I interviewed one of the guys from the hit show The Wire, Lito, who's worked with Angela Bassett, Lawrence Fishburne, Kiki Palmer. Um, I did an interview with him not too long ago. It would have been Tuesday, and
It's
when
Lawrence.
no, not Lawrence
What, you, you,
Fishburne.
you,
Yeah, I interviewed someone who's worked alongside him in the film Aquila LB, and he plays on the show The Wire with Idris Elba. Naaman Bright, he played the character of Naaman Bright Solito. And I interviewed him, and he was just like, "What you got to be nervous for?" He was pretty chilled, and I'm sitting there on the inside freaking out. But that interview with Vanessa, my nerves was through the roof. When she came on, she said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I looked into those blue eyes. I said, "What? What do I do now? What?" I said, "Oh my God, how are you?" I was trying not to fangirl out in the moment. I had to keep it professional. And she was so down to earth. She was so laid back. And it was
yeah,
the complete opposite. People were calling me queen that day, but I was like, no, the real queen is here. So I'm the princess for today. She's the queen.
yeah,
But we had such a good time just talking about her career and you know, the beauty pageant. It was such a good time. I really enjoyed that interview, and it's so many. I've done so many.
yeah. Well, congratulations on your success. It's really amazing to see people like doing what they love to do, regardless of the hurdles, and thank you for taking for reaching out to me and taking the initiative and just inspiring other people to do what they want, what they can with what they have, you know because it's not about having an amazing budget. Just have a vision, and I respect that you have like a very focused vision, and you seem to have a warm heart, and I appreciate that. Like when you're reaching out to people, you actually you're talking, and you're actually having a conversation, as opposed to like just going through notes. I mean, of course, you're gonna check the notes or whatever, but it's nice to have. I was really nervous. I was nervous. I haven't done one of these in forever. Yeah, I think about forever. So yeah, no, I was like, how's it gonna? I'm like, I'm just gonna roll with it. We'll see. If it's terrible, it's okay too, because I'm not always as funny as I think I am.
Right.
Especially if you ask my daughter,
The
she
complete
will tell you.
opposite. It went the complete opposite. And I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous too. So I mean it turned out the complete opposite. And when I do my interviews here with people, I tell people this all the time. I want it to be The reviews that I've gotten have been so beautiful. People were saying that it's genuine. Coming on the platform, you make me feel comfortable. I've gotten, oh my God, your voice is so soothing. From one of my guests, I've gotten, it's just organic. And I love interviews that are organic. Like if the vibe is off, I've had one interview, and I'm going to be transparent here and just say it. The vibe was definitely off. The audience was like, "Yes, you're doing such a great job," but I'm just like, I'm having to smile to fake the funk. Like it's something just did. Like I like the vibes to click. I'm the type of person like I go off of energy, and if it's
Yeah.
organic and the energy is just right, that moment, that present moment is just right. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a great interview. But if they come in and the guests are just like, I kind of just, fake smile through it. But this one is organic as well as some of the other ones that I just recently did throughout this week. All organic interviews. But that one particularly was one I'm just like, okay, don't save that one.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes you gotta fake the fun because I mean, like, I imagine there's probably sometimes you don't have people who are on the same page,
right.
spiritually or emotionally or politically. You still have to give them, you pay them the respect, you pay them kindness, regardless, and that's definitely. I mean, philosophically, I can definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely, 100%. So we are going to get into our games with Mr. Ozzie, and he's going to ask me some
With their
questions.
game.
The next segment called Turn the Tables, as many questions as he wants. But the first one is called the Rapid Five. And Ozzie has to tell us five things that he can't live without. It can be in life or it can be material, whatever.
The five. My kids cannot live without my kids.
Mm,
I cannot live without art. I can't. I absolutely cannot live without art. I can't live without music. And water, not just a drink, because what we're not. We are like literally 70% water. We're gonna dry up like a raisin if we don't have it. But like water, swimming water. I love swimming. I can't. I cannot live. Living in Atlanta was just like when I first moved to Atlanta, I thought I was actually going to be closer to the water. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Atlanta, it's got to be close to the Atlantic.
And the complete opposite.
No, 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 it's and so I missed that coming from Miami and even Boston, where even though there's not much place, there's still like lots of rivers and stuff like that in California. Man, I miss going out to the mountains, like hiking up to the mountains and ending of the day with the sunset. What's another thing that I cannot live without? Love.
Mm,
Absolutely. It's going to sound hackneyed or whatever, but seriously, love in life, personal, professional, like, you got to love the life you're in, even like it makes the struggle a lot easier.
absolutely. 100%. And we need it all the way, especially with everything that is going on. There are a lot here. You have to know what
No.
they are. In Atlanta, mm-hmm,
Right, right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to yeah, be heart centered, live for love and like just express love. And, not, I want to bring up like bullets flying and stuff like that. When people don't live in love, um, their perspective is skewed in such a negative way
yeah,
that they feel lost and they have to affect the lives of other people. Go so far as taking that away. Um, and I wasn't planning on bringing that up, but that's something to conceive because like there's a decided lack of love in the world.
more than
We
ever.
just have to bring that back. Remember that.
That is something that we absolutely need more than ever. And more importantly, hope. People need hope.
Hope.
It's heavy times right now, but I tell people this all the time. People want a sense of comfort. And shout outs to my brother Scott. Blue Haze knows my brother Scott Valentine. He said this because I spoke with him on the phone a few months back, and he said this stuff going on social media, the tragedy that happened in Texas and the tragedy in New York. Yeah, it's heavy, but people need something like a sigh of relief, like a halo, like a breath of fresh air. He said that my platform and the way that I do things is like a way because I'm delicate to the issues. You know, I don't want to put people in an uncomfortable situation, make them sad or, you know, emotional. It just comes out. Like some people literally shed tears in some of my interviews. And I'm just like, it's okay because I'm delicate to the issues. And I think that my mom, I get that characteristic from my mom more than anything. And that's to be the nurturer and to kind of give people advice and encourage people. And when they're feeling sad, you know, just try to cheer them up. So I guess I get that from her. So I give credit to her for that.
Yes. Is your mom still with us?
Yes, she still is, still kicking it.
Shout out to moms in the world. Hey, mom.
Yes.
And
And
my mom, if she, in case she sees this, she might not watch it. She's terrible at electronics, but love you, mom.
she will.
It's
We'll
all
have
the
to
mom.
say. All right, fashion dolls. So it is time to turn those tables. And this is where my guests get to ask me questions, as many as they want. And I have no idea what Ozzie is going to ask me. So take it away.
If you could be a who, what kind of who would you be? No. Um. Okay. Let's see. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success. People can say, "Oh well, I've got it all. I've done it all. I've done everything I need to do." That's easy to say, but for me, my definition of success is having the family values behind you. That means a huge support circle. That means family, friends. I know. Shout outs to my girl Felicia, and my girlfriend Stephanie, my best friends. They have been there for me through thick and thin. Shout outs to my brother K Toots. Shout outs to Tony, Kenny, also amazing content creators. Subscribe to their platforms and Tay and so many others. And my girl Blue Haze, who's also been there from the beginning. Those are that's success to me. Having people like that behind you to kind of give you that nudge on the shoulder to be like, okay, girl, you need to get it together, stay focused, stay grinded, you know, where you need to be. That's success for me. I can say, oh well, I've got it all. I've got everything I need, you know. I'm a woman who has everything, but still at the end of the day, I can be unhappy. So success at what
Mhm.
cost? But for me, success is having those values of people around you support you 100%. As long as you got that circle, you're successful in life. You don't have to be big or rich to be on television, you know, or to just make it in life. And we live in a day and age where everybody wants everything to be so. Don't get me wrong. I love the glamour. I love the hair. I love the makeup. I love the dresses, the outfits, all of that, and so much more. But it's so much more to life than that for me. And I know when I'm long gone and passed on into the next, you know, transition on in the next life, and you talked about reincarnation, and I come back as whomever, um, I know that I've done my work in this world by just, you know, one, and I've heard this quote before, one person, one voice can change the world. So success for me is having the people who support you the most behind you to be like, girl, you're doing a good job. You're doing amazing. Keep going. Keep encouraged. Don't give up. That's success for me. So, you know, a lot of people think success is, well, I won an Oscar. I won an Emmy. And don't get me wrong. I would love an Emmy one day. I would love to
Right?
be up there with the ladies of The View and The Real and Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. I would love to be an Emmy Award winner manifesting it, but that's later to come in the next lifetime. Who knows? Who knows? So me, I'm all about manifestation, but that's my definition of success. A little long winded, but perfectly right.
No, yeah, no. That's perfectly put. Yeah, you have to emote. I think it's important to just speak from the heart. Be like, because I'm a rambler, as you can tell myself. So, okay, my next question. My next question is, I believe in theme songs or a theme groove. What is your like? If this had one groove, like when you walk down the street, this is the song that plays. People know it's just like this is your show. What's your theme groove?
Everyone knows this. Y'all know I'm a big Whitney Houston fan. So I'm going to say Whitney Houston, I'm Every Woman, because I literally am every woman. I do it all. I have to make sure that my family is taken care of outside of the show. My mom, my grandmom. Um, I have to make sure that here the interviews are booked, that the guests come on. I'm keeping my time schedule, making sure that the house is taken care of. I do chores and stuff, making sure the launch, all of that. So I literally wear a lot of hats, and it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And then I have to make time for myself as well too. You know, self care is very very important because if you try
Yeah.
to overdo it and pile so much, it's like okay when you're traveling and you get a big suitcase, about 3 pounds of them, and you try to carry them all at once, and then you stack another one on another one, what's going to happen is all going to come tumbling down. You can't
Okay.
carry it
Yeah.
all. So you have to find that balance. So that would be my theme song. I'm every woman.
I'm every woman. Oh, I don't know. I never heard of it. Never. Don't. That's not me singing. It's like I think I broke some eardrums just now. That's a beautiful song. Okay, so I mean, I could see that. I could see that. Um, okay. What is the if there was something that people don't know about you that you wish they knew? What is that?
That I get scared too. I know I make it seem as though I'm fearless, but there are days when I get scared, especially after the most recent tragedies. I, fear like when I go into a grocery store, a movie theater, is something gonna happen. But not just that, but even some career choices, I get scared. Like, did I make the right choice? Did I, because I did a horror film back in 21, and I'm like, okay, did I sign up and make the right choice? And I did make the right choice. It was an amazing outcome. I went in and nailed it. No acting experience. And I took the script and I nailed the table read and nailed the role with the day we shot the film with flying colors. And people were so proud just giving me their flowers and things. And it was unbelievable. So I would have to say fear is one thing people don't know about. Hey, Angela, how are you, girl? Another Black owned business, Miss TJ Sauce. She has her mayonnaise based sauce, Black owned. So definitely go and check her out. We have something planned pretty soon. It's going to be, I'll just say this, I'll give you a hint. It's going to be 4 women, 4 Black women on a panel. And I myself included is going to be on there as well as Angela and 2 other familiar faces. So you guys have to stay tuned for that. It's coming soon. Soon.
What kind of sauce? Is it like barbecue? Is it like what kind of sauce are we talking about? Like hot sauce?
Yes, if you like barbecue mayonnaise based, yeah, definitely go and check her out. Definitely.
Might have to do that.
Black owned, yes. So we got a lot of Black owned businesses that support because I support a lot of Black owned businesses here on my platform. So, and I had her on. So
Thank you for doing that. I mean, it's an absolutely necessary thing for folks to know because, like, it's like if we don't know, we can't see, we can't support it.
absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
and the cost it takes to actually to promote and to get out there is daunting.
And she does that. I interviewed her and she was breaking it down to me, the process for going in for the meetings and pitching and everything. It's a lot. It's when you are running a business by yourself solo, you're having to wear so many hats as creative director,
Yeah,
as the promoter, as all of these things and so much more. Even here with this platform, I have to make sure that when the interview dates are out, I put the flyer out, I do the reminders, I make sure that everything is spelled correctly. It's a lot that goes into it to make sure that everything is perfect for your guests. Because when my guests come on my platform, I make sure I roll out that red carpet for them and make sure that everything is in order and perfect. So yeah.
yeah. You did your homework. I was like, some of the stuff I forgot about. I was just like, wait, I did that. I forgot about that. Because like once I do something, I'm like, I embrace it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna ride the coattails. I'm glad it's something I did, and I appreciate it. But I'm like, oh, let's keep moving.
And
But so yeah, yeah, you did, and then you kept me on schedule too. Because sometimes I will have my schedule in my head, and then I have to remind myself, oh, I got to put that down, because most times I can juggle it and be like, okay, but yeah, I appreciate you keeping me on time there.
Listen, it happens to me too. I'd be so wrapped up and I'd be like, oh my God, I forgot it was this day. And then I've had guests who I was supposed to interview. They'd be like, and our interview is today. I'm like, no, it's a different day. It's on the flyer for you. So I have to kind of coach them and help them out in the process as well too.
Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you for the experience. Thank you for this chat. I have one more question. What was? Did I get one? Do I get one more question?
As many as you want.
Do I get? Okay, I'm gonna give you one more question. Um, what is your favorite joke?
My favorite joke, I don't really have one. Of course, I heard about, okay, how did a chicken cross the road? That's so lame to me. But
Okay,
yeah,
is there an answer to that? How did the chicken cross the road? How did it?
I don't know.
That's worse than one of mine. My daughter would tell you. I tell the worst joke. I probably could not answer that question myself, because usually when I tell jokes, my jokes are situational. It's usually a play on words, or it's like, oh, that just came to me, that's funny. And my daughter would be like, she gives me this look like, Dad, you're not funny.
Oh my
But
goodness.
then that joke, with that expression on her face, makes me crack up. So I just tell it for myself. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. This was such a great interview and it was such a pleasure talking with you. So my last question for you is, what advice would you give to up and coming people who want to get into comics and just graphic novels and so much more? What advice would you give to them?
Any, uh, anything you want to create, just do it. No matter how long it takes. Sometimes it'll take longer than you expect. Success is never what you think it is. Don't plan for it. Like anything else in the universe, it's like, I take it like being a surfer on the universal wave. Just ride the wave that you got. And then paddle back out, and then try another one. Enjoy the ride. Because if you're not enjoying the ride, you can't enjoy the words you write, you can't enjoy the picture you draw, you can't enjoy the music you make. And then it's that enjoyment that you imbue in what you do that people respond to. So if it's an audience of one or two or a few, that's all that you should focus on.
Absolutely. 100%. And let everyone know where they can follow you, where they can check out your project.
um, they can follow me behind my car if they're fast enough. They can hopefully give me a heads up if they're going to stalk me, so that I can be wearing something nice. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. The face thingy. Apparently, I still have a MySpace. I don't know what that looks like
People
anymore.
so
Right? Some people still use it. I should probably get back on it and see what's up with that. Um, but yeah, those are my main platforms right now. I need to actually update my SoundCloud. If you want to listen to actually some Dominic Amani Freeman, my nephew is an amazing musician. You can check some of his stuff out on SoundCloud. Oh, what is his name? It's Da Freeman, Da Freeman. I think it is. Either Dominic Amani. Check that out. And shout out to actually my boy Miles Davis, not the Miles Davis, even though I do love the. I mean, all blues is my soundtrack. What an artist who's helped me out a lot, and who's lent some of his talent, his amazing talent, to some of the work that I've done. Yes, so that's how we follow Ozzie.
all right, fashion dolls. And that concludes our interview with Ozzie Carnan. It was such a pleasure having you here, and we definitely got to do this again in the future.
Definitely. I'll let you know when it's ready to roll out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And y'all, peace and
You too. Take care. All right, ladies and
bye.
gentlemen. Take care, everyone.